Anyway.
21-year-old Jack Teixeira, also known as Jack the Dripper on Discord, is the dumbest Discord user on the platform. They caused one of the biggest intelligence breaches by releasing several documents a week, totaling up to over 300 pieces of classified information. And what was the reasoning behind this? To be cool. So just to get you caught up to speed on how these leaks surfaced over the internet, it started off with the Biden administration noting that Twitter had a little bit of confidential documents on it. And of course, to figure out where this information leak came from, they decided to track down the source. And it turns out on the same day, April 5th, these documents were shown on a pro-Russian Telegram chat called
Донбасс девушка.
I'm not going to pronounce it because last time I tried, I was completely wrong, so Google's just doing the heavy lifting for me here. But that still isn't the source, because diving back a little bit deeper, it turns out that the leaks were posted on 4chan. But that's not the end of these leaks, because if you go back a little bit more, it turns out that these confidential documents were leaked on the Minecraft EarthMap Discord server on March 4th. And why were they leaked? Because of an argument. We had a handful of degenerate Discord users that were complaining and talking about the Ukraine versus Russia war. And of course, just to really win the argument, to take home the trophy of, yes, I won an internet argument today, someone decided to post leaked documents. Nice. But the journey of these leaked documents didn't start there. If you go back a little bit more, on March 1st, these documents showed up on the YouTuber WowMow's Discord server. At least 30 plus documents were planted upon this most beautiful and sacred Discord server. But that is not where they originated from. In fact, they originated from the one and true of the holiest places on Discord.
Yes, I'm not your bug check. Yes, I'm not interested in this video, but
Discord, the Thug Shaker Central server, which is painted by the news as a Discord group with a focus on guns, racist memes, and of course,
Alright, what is that? Yo!
Gaming. And as early as January 2023, 300 plus documents were posted on this Discord.
What's this? Oh, that's a long interview.
In the long term, AI may become
Tucker, what the fuck?
autonomous and take over the world, but in the short term, it's
This
being used by
guy!
politicians to control what you think, to end your independent judgment and erase democracy on the eve of a presidential election. Elon Musk is very worried about that. He told us about his plan to stop it.
What's happening is they're training the AI to lie.
Yes.
It's bad.
To lie.
To
That's
lie.
exactly right. And to withhold information.
To lie and yes, yeah, exactly. To either comment on some things, not comment on other things, but not to say what the data actually demands that it say.
Exactly. How did it get this way? I thought you funded it at the beginning. What happened?
Yeah, well, that'll be ironic. But Faith, the most ironic outcome is the most likely, it seems.
I want to hear about this.
That's good.
That's actually a friend of mine, Jonah, who came up with that one. I actually have a slight variant on that, which is the most
I sure love a right-wing media circle jerk. Yeah, okay.
entertaining outcome is the most likely. But that's entertaining as viewed from a third-party viewer. Right. Like, so if we're like an alien
from
TV
on
show.
high, yes.
Yeah. Like you could go see a movie about World War I and they're being blown to bits and they're gassed and everything in the trenches, and it's like you're eating popcorn and having a soda, it's fine. Not so great for the people in the movie.
True.
This sort of Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is most likely. Jonah's variant, which is irony, and then my variant, which is the most entertaining as seen by a third-party audience, which seems to be mostly true.
But it seems true in this case. So you gave them, did you give them a lot?
I came up with the name and the concept and pushed, had a number of dinners around the Bay Area with some of the people, the leading figures in AI. And I helped recruit the initial team. In fact, the Ilya Sutskever, who was really quite fundamental to the success of OpenAI, I put a tremendous amount of effort into recruiting Ilya, and he changed his mind a few times and ultimately decided to go with OpenAI. But if he had not gone with OpenAI, OpenAI would not have succeeded. I really put a lot of effort into creating this organization to serve as a counterweight to Google. And then I kind of took my eye off the ball, I guess, and are
Yeah.
now closed source.
Chat, all these are problems. What are the solutions? I don't get it. What are the solutions? I mean, this is as this and that, but what else are they gonna do? Like censor all of it and then wait till it's like fully perfect, fully fledged? There's no way that happens. That's not
and-
possible.
They are obviously for profit, and they're closely allied with Microsoft. In effect, Microsoft has a very strong say, if not directly controls OpenAI at this point. So you really have an OpenAI and Microsoft situation, and then at Google DeepMind are the two sort of heavyweights in this arena.
So it seems like the world needs a third option.
Yes.
Chat.
So
Microsoft could mind control with microchips every human on Earth, and it would still not be able to convince a singular
you,
human on Earth
XQC.
to use Bing. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling
I think
you.
I will create a third option, although it's starting very late in the game, of course.
Can it be done?
I don't know. I think we'll see. It's definitely starting late, but I'll try to create a third option, and that third option hopefully does more good than harm. Like the intention with OpenAI was obviously to do good, but it's not clear whether it's actually doing good or whether it's.
XQC.
I can't tell at this point, except that I'm worried about the fact that it's being trained to be politically correct, which is simply another way of saying untruthful things.
Yes.
So that's a bad sign.
Bro, this guy's just
This would be a
glazing.
path to AI dystopia is to train an AI to be deceptive. So yeah, I'm going to start something which you could call truth GPT, or a maximum truth-seeking AI that tries to understand the nature of the universe. And I think this might be the best path to safety, in the sense that an AI that cares about understanding the universe it is unlikely to annihilate humans, because we are an interesting part of the universe. Hopefully, they would think that. I think it would, because humanity could decide to hunt down all.
Chad, he's saying that Microsoft's truth isn't as good as his truth. That's why it's called Truth GPT instead of just
chimpanzees,
Chat
and kill them.
GPT?
But we
Yes.
don't, because we're actually glad that they exist.
Yes.
And we aspire to protect their habitats.
But we feel that way because we have souls, and that makes us sentimental and reflective. It gives us a
Souls?
moral sense.
what the
longings.
fuck is a
Can
soul?
a machine ever have those things? Can a machine be sentimental? Can it appreciate beauty?
Well, I mean, we're getting into some, philosophical areas that are hard to resolve.
Dark Souls.
I take somewhat of a scientific view of things, which is that we might
I'm
have
not
a soul.
pretending. I don't
or
know
we
what a
might not
soul
have a
is. I
soul.
just don't know
don't
what it is.
It feels like I feel like I've got some sort of consciousness that exists on a plane that is not the one we observe.
Yes.
That is certainly how I feel, but it could be an illusion. I don't know. But for AI, in terms of
Guys, your soul, is that like your you energy like thing? But I thought that was like a made up thing.
of understanding beauty, there's a difference from appreciating beauty and being able to create incredibly beautiful art.
Yes.
Will AI be able to create incredibly beautiful art? It already does.
Yes, I know.
If you see some of the Mid-Journey,
I have.
this stuff, it's incredible.
It is.
No question that it can create art that we perceive as stunning, really. It's doing sort of still images now, but it won't be long before it's doing movies and shorts, and movies just a series of frames with audio.
But at that point, because it can mimic people and voices, any image, it can mimic reality itself so effectively.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you have a criminal trial? I mean, how could you ever believe that evidence was authentic, for example?
See?
And I don't mean like in
That's
third.
what I said. That's what I said. What if you get an AI model and take a bunch of ND information, right? And have him talk and have people ask him questions, and he leaked information, but nobody knows where the source code comes from, right? Because it's unencrypted and whatnot.
30 years, I mean, like next year. I mean, that seems totally disruptive to all of our institutions.
But I'm not so worried. I think it's more like, will humanity control its destiny or not? Will we have a future that is better than the past or not?
Will humanity control its future or not? And in the meantime, how will this be used to control us? If you've played around with the latest versions of AI, you will learn it prefers to end the world with nuclear Armageddon before you use naughty words. So,
What? Interesting. This guy says something. The videos are good? This one's good? I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot.
So all of a sudden AI is everywhere. People who weren't quite sure what it was are playing with it on
Chat,
their phones.
this looks like AI.
Is that good or bad?
Yeah, so I've been
-49
thinking about
months
AI for a long
Let me
time.
give it a shot, let me
Since
give it
I
a
was in
shot.
college, really. It was one of the things that,
I will
the
say
sort of 4 or
that in
5 things I thought would
regards to
really
pain, that
affect
Google's
the
still
future.
my main search engine. However, when some pain in the ass homework shit pops up in front of me, I am instantly putting that shit into Bing Eye. It's very convenient to click and Control V. Easy.
Dramatically. It is fundamentally profound in that the
25
smartest
months
creatures,
with
as far as you know,
user
on this
XQCL.
earth are
Hold on, I'm
humans. Is our defining characteristic.
Yes.
We're obviously weaker than, say, chimpanzees and less agile, but we are smarter. So now what happens when something vastly smarter than the smartest person comes along in silicon form? It's very difficult to predict what will happen in that circumstance. It's called the singularity. It's, it's a singularity like a black hole, because
Yes.
you don't know what happens after that. It's hard to predict. So I think we should be cautious with AI,
Chat.
and we should.
I think he know. I guess I generally think that he knows what he's talking about. I generally feel like maybe I don't know. I feel like he knows definitely what he's talking about. It's just hard when he translates information to normal people. When it's dumbed down, it doesn't sound as good or look as good. But he definitely does, though.
I think there should be some government oversight because it affects it's a danger to the public, and so when you have things that are a danger to the
Like
public,
me, but I'm smarter and I sound even dumber.
like let's say, so food and drugs. That's why we have the Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FCC. We have these agencies to oversee things that affect the public, where there could be public harm, and you don't want companies cutting corners on safety, and then having people suffer as a result. So that's why I've actually for a long time been a strong advocate of AI regulation. So that I think regulation is. It's not fun to be regulated. It's sort of somewhat of a
Well, hey, there's progress
somewhat
also.
arduous to be regulated. I have a lot of experience with regulated industries because obviously automotive is highly regulated. You could fill this room with all the regulations that are.
It's by finding a new kink, you find a new path. Even though it's bad sometimes, it leads you to new good things.
For a production car just in the United States, and then there's a whole different set of regulations in Europe and China and the rest of the world. So very familiar with being overseen by a lot of regulators. And the same thing is true with rockets. You can't just willy-nilly shoot rockets off, not big ones anyway, because the FAA oversees that. And then even to get a launch license, there are probably half a dozen or more federal agencies that need to approve it, plus state agencies. So I've been through so many regulatory.
Chat, I will just let it check it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My brain is like a hamster. Stick the camera. Boom. I'll watch it later. Bro, I'm bad at fucking this in my mind.